Hey, my name's Steven, coming at you from Florida.
Hello, y'all. This is Kevin coming from Texas.
My name's David. I'm coming from the Heartland, Ohio.
And welcome to the Brothers
Born
Podcast.
And we're excited to talk to you.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to the Brothers Born Podcast. Kevin, how you living?
Tired, really. Haven't been sleeping much lately, so.
I know you can't see us right now, but if you could, you'd see that he's just laying down on a pillow, chilling. Maybe he has extra confidence that he's going to win the throwdown today. I don't know.
Not at all.
Or he's losing sleep because he knows he's going to lose.
Oh, maybe that could be it.
I mean, that could be. Most honestly, I work until 10 o'clock at night, and then, I don't know, I just haven't been sleeping lately. Happens once in a while.
Excuses.
Sorry to hear that, man. Hope you get some sleep after this. What about you, Steven? What's going on with you, man?
It was just my birthday. Doing pretty good. I spent like 4 hours playing this board game called Scythe.
Nerd.
And already posted that on his wall, Kevin.
I did. I asked for my birthday. I wanted an uninterrupted game of Scythe, and it was given to me, and it was the greatest gift.
Did you sound like some kind of, all I want is one uninterrupted night to play my games. So we started our second Throwdown series a couple episodes back. And I'm a little bit bitter because I lost. I was Optimus Prime, one of my favorite heroes of all time, and I lost to Kevin. So we're going to see who can win today between Steven and Kevin. We've got an interesting matchup today. Let's see if we can figure out who's in this matchup. I'm going to go ahead and start with Kevin. Since he won last week, let's get him throw down his character first.
Well, I will say I tried doing some research on this character, and there really is basically nothing. Like, really nothing at all. So I'm not very confident in my abilities today. So, seeming to Steven guess who it is, you'll pretty well figure it out within like a couple of seconds. He's really old.
Okay.
And he can't see very well.
Huh.
That's true. Kind of like me. But go ahead.
He's old. You can't see.
That's pretty much all I got, to be honest.
What? I won't be able to figure that. Who's that supposed to be?
So
old and can't see.
So it's an old character from like 1949. Really, that long ago?
Dang. Okay, so it's not Goku. Though of course he can see and he's not old. So
yeah, he's definitely not old nor can.
Steven was preparing for Goku. He was ready.
I would have won, obviously, if I was Goku. No, he does have he had a nephew for a little while. But then the nephew kind of disappeared when this character got their own show, and he was replaced with like a Chinese kid who was very, very stereotyped. This is back in like the 60s and 50s, you know.
All right, I'm gonna think I wouldn't be able to get this, but unless I looked at our list of characters, it could be. But I'm taking a guess on Mr. Magoo.
You're correct. I have Mr. Magoo.
That's awesome.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
great.
All right. Well, let me just intertwine here. Do you remember when we were kids, Uncle Matt had Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
And we used to watch it all the time with him.
Interesting fact about that Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. It was the first hour-long featured Christmas episode special of anything. So, he's got history there. His cartoon was actually one of the first Christmas specials that was ever made for like TV.
That's my main.
It was the longest one because it's a whole hour as opposed to.
So there's one advantage there. That's my main knowledge about Mr. Magoo. All right, so we got Mr. Magoo in one corner here. Kevin, we'll be back to learn more about your character in a short while after we find out who he will be facing against this morning. Steven,
I do think that the odds are ever in my favor here.
This isn't Hunger Games, man. This isn't Hunger Games. But,
All right. My character, he in this medium that he's presented in, you see him as a child, as an adult, and an older man. You could say he was born, but you could also make a case that he was created. It's not really it's kind of a weird thing there. He didn't really have the most conventional upbringing compared to his peers. Of course, in this universe, not very many kids have a conventional upbringing, I don't think. But he learned to be very deadly and violent when he was younger, but in like a dignified way. His first appearance, most people think, it was in 1980 in a movie that he was in. However, some people say, no, he was in actually a Christmas special in 1978. And people think that's the first appearance of this character. That is also false. The first appearance of this character was in a September 24th, 1978 parade. Someone dressed as this character and walked this parade. So that's actually the first appearance of this character. Let me give you a hot quote here. He's no good to me dead. And Kevin, can you guess who my character is?
Are you talking about Boba Fett?
That is indeed who I have,
Man,
Boba Fett.
both of you guys got it right.
I wasn't quite sure because when we first started, I was like, huh.
Well, today's matchup.
So his first
Mr.
appearance wasn't Return of the Jedi? No, I guess it wouldn't have been.
It was in some holiday Christmas special, and then he actually was in a parade with Darth Vader on September 24th, 1978.
So Boba Fett was in a Christmas special before he was. No, because I thought he was introduced in Empire Strikes Back.
He was like for most people that are casual Star Wars people. But
how do you get Boba Fett? I have a lot better knowledge about Boba Fett than I do Mr. Bean.
It's just how the ball
it's not
bounces.
Mr. Bean, it's Mr. Magoo.
Mr. Go. That's what I meant. Mr. Go.
You don't even know your own character's name, man. I'm sorry. Maybe if I had the fancy dice like Steven, I could have done a little better for you, but that's how the ball bounced this time. So today's matchup, Mr. Magoo versus Boba Fett. Both of them have history being in Christmas specials. So hey,
that's true. So
maybe we can put a holiday spin on this. Today is Halloween, so I don't know.
Well,
so
in that case, Mr. Magoo, I make the wins because of his unique history in regards to Christmas specials.
All right. Well, let's go ahead, Kevin. Let's hear your side of the argument here.
I honestly don't really have much because there isn't a whole lot of research. I couldn't find anything about Mr. Magoo. He basically, his whole thing is that he's an old guy who can't see. That's it. That's all he's got going for him. I will say Mr. Magoo does have, I guess, uncanny luck. I suppose that's a superpower.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
Because no matter what situation he's in, so basically he's a blind guy and because he refuses or doesn't realize how blind he is, whatever the case is, they're not really sure. It's never determined. Because he is so blind, he kind of gets in these wacky shenanigans as a result. But he always comes out on top, like nothing happens to him. He comes out just as, able as was before. Meanwhile, all the chaos he causes because of his lack of sight, kind of makes life hard for everybody else. An example is I actually watched a couple Mr. Magoo cartoons. He went to the tailor, or at least he thought he was going to tailor, but he was actually going to an army recruiter's office. I don't know how you get those two things confused, but that's what he did. So he's around there and he's just like, oh yeah, tighten up my jacket, sir. And then they're trying to fit him for army uniforms. And he goes over, walks over to this wall and he's like, oh, what you got here? Some canes? Why a tailor would have a cane just still, I don't know. So he picks the cane up and it turns out it's actually a machine gun. And somehow he doesn't realize this. So he's shooting up the place. And he's like, oh, it's a trick cane, I see. Yeah, that's interesting. Mr. Magoo, you're kind of an idiot.
Is he an idiot, or is he an idiot, or is he just smart beyond our understanding?
That's true.
Maybe he really knew what was going on in that situation, but he was playing the old man card. You don't know. He could have been.
So he's
I'm
secretly,
old. I'm confused.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I would add a whole nother level to him.
You might get all kinds of free meals doing that, dude.
Dude, he
Oh,
can't
that's
read the
great.
menu. I don't know. He has like this rich uncle, I think. Who's
Wait,
like
wait.
this-
He's old and blind. And he's a rich uncle. How old is
dude,
that
dude,
guy?
they've introduced his grandmother, his mother, his uncle. I don't know. He's got like this rich uncle, and this
Oh, so
uncle-
longevity is good in his family. You can
yeah,
live.
so
a long
he's
time.
immortal. Yeah, there you go. He's immortal. His uncle has like this butler named Worcester or something like that, and like his uncle is super rich, and Mr. Magoo like is constantly messing about in like his uncle's properties and things because he's like a real estate tycoon or whatever. And so he sends this little butler guy to go and like prevent Mr. Magoo from doing excessive damage, but he does it anyway. But he always manages to like, so the guy sets up traps for Mr. Magoo, and he always manages to like not get trapped by him and stuff. I don't know. That's
Wait,
all I
so
got, man.
So the butler sets up traps for Mr. Magoo, and he escapes them.
Yeah, something like that. Or tries he tries to set them up, but they don't like work.
Why does the
Like-
butler set up traps again? Because Mr.
Because-
Magoo's trying to take his uncle's money or something.
No, because he just wanders on his uncle's like properties, and his uncle doesn't want him to cause problems. Like, so there's one where he decides to build a baseball diamond for the kid so the kids can play baseball and have a good time. And so he does that, and he goes to like
He
this.
sounds like a very nice old man.
He's something. So he goes and he like they're like building this skyscraper, and like he ends up on top of the skyscraper, and he thinks he's building like stands for the people to watch. And so his uncle's like, "Oh, I'm sure to get him now," and he like tries to set up so that Mr. Magoo falls off this. He wants to kill Mr. Magoo apparently,
His nephew.
but somehow he survives it, and then the guy just can't get rid of Mr. Magoo and his shenanigans. It's impossible.
So there's some sentimental value to this because it's Mr. Magoo and his uncle, right? And then our uncle showed us Mr. Magoo the first time,
Yes,
at least for me. So we got some deep family connections with this this Mr. Magoo character. I don't know.
I guess.
You present a little bit stronger argument than I thought you'd be able to. Pretty good job.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's my only argument.
Speaking of good family connections, let me put Boba Fett. Everyone knows Jango Fett. His father was is he? I think he's like a Mandalorian, or like he's a bounty hunter for sure. And this is how Boba was born. He's the Empire's like, hey, or the Republic, whoever, I don't know, back then. They're like, Jango, let's clone you.
Dude,
The
know your
Republic,
Star Wars lore, fool.
let's clone you, Jango, and we can make all our soldiers based off of you. He's like, oh, that'd be great. You can do that. In return, I want my own son with no like empire modifications. I want him to be mine. Republic modifications. I want him to be mine.
So he might have just been a clone of his dad. Is that what you're saying?
No, he is a clone of his dad.
He is a clone of his dad.
Okay, see,
but
I
he's
don't know
like,
that. Go ahead.
but he's like a special one. Like he's the same, I guess you could say, genetic code as all the stormtroopers and stuff, but he doesn't have any like the stormtroopers when they were cloned. They have like these inhibitors that make them more like
That make them not be
easy-
able to hit anything when they shoot people.
basically.
No, that was the
so they-
stormtroopers. The clones could hit everything.
Oh, okay.
Well, I thought you said stormtroopers. Okay.
I said stormtroopers. I don't know my Star Wars lore as well as Kevin, but anyway, Boba Fett, he grows up as a little kid. He's already shooting a blaster as a youngin, so he's learning these like pretty sophisticated like skills as a young person. Then as time goes on, Jango gets killed by Mace Windu, and Boba has this revenge building inside of him, and he's on like he ends up being a bounty hunter, but he's trying to also get revenge for his father. So he's got a pretty strong mission. He's got a lot of drive, a lot of initiative. And let me just talk a little bit about his weapons. Okay, here we go.
Mr. Magoo has a cane that's a machine gun, so it's going to be hard to top that.
That's true.
All right. So
Just
Well, I
saying,
mean,
no,
he
but go ahead.
thought it was a cane.
Boba Fett has a flamethrower on his gauntlets. It's the Zircon ZX, in case you're wondering.
What are his gauntlets?
It's like the things on his wrists.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
He's got Kelvarek consolidated arms. and that's like basically that gives him MM9 wrist rockets. The range is 25 meters. He can shoot rockets out of his wrists. So these gauntlets have a flamethrower as well as wrist rockets. He has a knee pad rocket launcher, 25-meter range. He has a Blastech EE3 blaster rifle. That's got a range of 750 meters.
That is a good quality blaster rifle.
He has a sonic beam weapon. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's got a range of 50 meters, and it sounds pretty rough, sonic beam. And he's got the Z6 jetpack with concussion missiles and grappler. The missiles have a 75-meter range, and the grappler has a 50-meter range. So he is well stacked. He is a walking weapon, if you will.
That's
Got a lot of cool stuff.
First of all, Stephen, are you reading that from an EV paper? A paper EV on it?
That's not important. I took notes on my little EV notepad. Okay.
He has a little EV notepad.
So
Nice.
I'm wondering about this because you said his rocket has 75-meter radius
Range.
That's not-
range
That's not very far
for the rocket.
That's
for
3/4
a
of
rocket.
football
That's
field,
not very
pretty much.
far.
No, it's his jetpack rocket. The
Yeah, but it's
concussion
not-
missile.
Okay,
not-
but a concussion missile with only 75-meter range isn't really that great. I mean, like
This is okay.
he
this
could
is just
potentially
one-
blow himself up accidentally. That's not very far at all.
I looked up this on a Wikipedia. All right, maybe. But okay, fair enough. But let me tell you about this jetpack rocket launcher, though. So he gets swallowed by the Sarlacc. Presumably, he's dead, swallowed by this planet, this hole in the planet that for some reason is a creature. I don't know. It's crazy, but he gets swallowed by that thing, and he gets out by apparently when you go in the Sarlacc pit, you have like a telekinetic connection with everyone else who's fallen in that Sarlacc pit, and he ends up talking to some dude telepathically, and he's like, hey. And that guy he's talking to has some amount of control over the Sarlacc pit. And then basically they do this plan, and he has the Sarlacc pit wrap its tendrils around his jetpack, and then he fires it. And I hope you like that sound effect. And that's how he escapes. So that Sarlacc pit's pretty intense, man. That thing has eaten a Jedi.
I thought he was dead when I first saw him fall in there back in the day when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Well,
It is pretty
everybody
intense.
did, but he was such a popular character. They're like, no, he's not dead.
The only reason he was popular back then was because his costume looked awesome, right? That's what I think.
Pretty
much.
And Star Wars has a habit of doing that. They sort of did that with Darth Maul. Everybody was like, Darth Maul is cool, and then he dies, and then they're like, just kidding, he's not really dead because you guys thought he was cool. Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing
reminds
because
me of,
Darth Maul is actually a really good, cool character. But
The toy sales just went super up. They're like, oh crap, let's bring him back.
Not to interrupt, but that reminds me of last week's too, how they always brought Optimus Prime back no matter what, just because the audience got ticked off when he died.
Way to
But-
pander to the fans.
Right. But anyways, go ahead, Steven.
So, and Boba Fett, so he's got this pretty wicked weapon. Great. Okay, fine. 75 meters is a bad range on a rocket, whatever. Dude, his blaster gun, though, the EE5,
that was a good blaster.
750 meters. EE3, sorry. 750 meters. That's a
That's 10
pretty
times
good
further.
So
range.
he's more accurate with his dinky little blaster than he is with a missile.
That's true.
Well,
I don't know how
the
that works.
missile
but
does come out of his backpack. It's not like it comes out of a jet or something. Like
That's true.
You
I'm
can't
just-
really have it.
I mean, yeah, I guess that would have made it limit his range. I'm just saying Star Wars weapons don't make sense, is all I'm saying.
All right. So, but compared my weapons to your cane machine gun, excuse me, Blastech E50,
Hey,
EE3.
First of all, the cane machine gun isn't his weapon. It just belonged to the U.S. Army. He thought it was a cane. It was actually a machine gun. So it's not actually his.
Don't hurt yourself here, man.
I'm just saying with Mr. Magoo's extensive luck and ability, like Boba Fett was sitting there and he's like, oh, I see it must be Halloween. Oh, that's great for the kiddies. And he'd probably give him some candy or something. And then Boba Fett would fire his rocket and somehow Mr. Magoo's blindness would cause him to have an immense amount of luck, which would cause the rocket to hit Boba Fett is what would happen.
Okay.
And he'd probably say something snarky about it. Oh, these kids these days, they're such explosive personalities, I say.
Oh man, that was a pretty good zinger right there. I can't dispute that. Okay, but
he went with the I say at the end of that. That made it even better.
But think about Boba Fett though, man. That dude tracked down Han Solo, bro, and like brought him in. He was one of the most coveted bounty hunters in the galaxy. Darth Vader, the dynamite boss man, super wicked villain of this generation, went to Boba Fett to get help. That says a lot about Boba Fett's like skills and abilities, for sure.
That's true. But my counter argument to that is Mr. Magoo's immense luck. He would just accidentally find Han Solo. You just find him. I'll say, fella, you seem kind of lost.
How would he get into Darth Vader though? How's he have any
Who knows? Who knows?
Okay, well, let's see. We both kind of made our gave what we knew about each character. Stephen, your knowledge on Boba Fett's arsenal of weapons is very good.
That is
I'm impressed with that. I'm impressed with that. And I think 75 meters is pretty good. I don't know why Kevin doesn't. I've never been in the military though, so but to me, 75 meters, that's most the length of a football field. I mean, that's all you really need for that kind of rocket.
This blaster is 7 football fields or something like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good blaster, dude. Yeah, I'm a trained soldier, sort of, and like the furthest I can hit a target is 300 meters, and that's if I'm lucky. So I'm not that great of a shot, though. To be fair,
you don't have. You're not lucky like Mr. Magoo.
I'm not. Mr. Magoo wouldn't even know he had a gun, and he'd somehow manage to do it. Like, oh, this must be some kind of radio.
So you brought in more like his weapons and what he has, what he has to offer to help him kill people, to destroy people. And then Mr. Magoo, on the other hand, maybe physically he's not as gifted as Boba Fett, but he does have luck on his side, and we all know that luck can go a long way. So I'm just wondering if either of you have anything else you'd like to add to the discussion here while I'm in the middle of making this important decision.
I don't know that this would help me or hinder me, but I want to share. I don't know that Mr. Magoo is worth Boba Fett's time, and let me tell you why. I have a direct quote from Boba Fett that says, "You are foolish to waste your kindness on this dumb creature. No lower life form is worth going hungry for." I'm going to parallel that to Mr. Magoo. He's like, Mr. Magoo just ain't worth my time. I got bigger fish to fry in the galaxy.
Everybody's worth Mr. Magoo's time.
Oh, man.
No, I see what you're saying, Stephen. That would be a good point if, like, we were having a throwdown and it was like Mr. Magoo and someone else, maybe. Like, oh, okay, well, Mr. Magoo's not worth my time. I'll go for this guy first. But in these throwdowns, as we all know from previous episodes, they're pitted up against each other. That's just how it works. I mean, it's called throwdown. So you can't be in the middle of a fight and be like, it's not worth my time, if that is the whole purpose of the battle, right? Because then
I do wonder what bounty somebody would put on Mr. Magoo. Like,
his uncle would probably put a ton.
Oh, yeah, dude, guy, I'm tired of messing things up. Let's get Boba Fett, the greatest bounty in the galaxy. Bounty hunter in the galaxy. Yeah.
His butler's just not making the cut. He's like, oh man.
I'm trying to think how this would even. I'm trying to think how those two characters would even meet. Like Mr. Magoo just like accidentally walks into a spaceship. I'm going to take the bus down to the senior center. Like he's like flying around in a spaceship, not even know what's going on, and Boba Fett comes by. He's like, oh hey.
Well, do you have anything else either of you guys want to add? Because Mr. Magoo, his luck, it does go a long way, but is there anything else we can kind of latch onto here? Or is it just pretty much dumb luck is what your argument is?
That's all he's got, man, is dumb luck. So, well, I mean, no, because I don't want to dig my hole myself. I don't want to make myself lose. But
Steven's already kind of admitted some of his arguments are short.
I would be willing to consent that Mr. Magoo may not be immortal. Though he is a cartoon character. I guess Boba Fett was too at one point. So I don't know.
He's timeless, not immortal.
Yeah, he is timeless. Mr. Magoo.
His family's longevity. So maybe not immortal, but he might be like, some Old Testament prophet that lives hundreds of years.
He also has a bulldog that looks just like him and is equally nearsighted.
Oh man, that kind of strengthens your argument a little bit, I think, because having a
Because
miniature
he has a dog. Yeah,
Oh,
Joking.
Boba Fett
joking.
has a cool
Well,
spaceship called the Slave One. So
That's true. But does the dog have the same amount of luck as Mr. Magoo has, or what?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything to suggest whether he did or not. It just said that he was blind,
Okay.
and it looks just like him. But there was no nothing to suggest that his dog was particularly powerful. There was and I'm just throwing this out there. It has nothing to do with my argument. It's just something I just suddenly read and thought it was funny. It said a Mexican U.S. animated feature, Kung Fu Magoo, was released to direct DVD release.
Oh man!
So I'm trying to picture Magoo doing kung fu.
that's pretty awesome.
He's like really short too. He's like a really tiny, short, old.
He is a tiny dude. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen. So I've heard a lot about the weapons. I've heard kind of how Boba Fett was created, born, whatever. Do you have any other things you want to say about his, like just some of his skills he has? Mr. Magoo's holding strong with this luck skill that he doesn't. I don't know, like what kind of. I know obviously he's a trained assassin and bounty hunter,
Yeah.
but anything in particular?
I think he also has a good survival instinct for sure. So like he survived the Sarlacc pit. And,
that is pretty legit.
That's pretty crazy. And he's also timeless. I mean, like you guys said, we saw him. He wasn't meant to be a big character. Then he turned into this big character. People loved him so much. And you know, he's cool because he kind of, if you watch The Mandalorian, he's kind of like doing his own thing now. He's not a slave to anyone, despite the fact that his spaceship is called the Slave. He is not a slave to anyone. He is his own man. He has a good network of other assassins, since he's well connected. And has ability to work in the shadows, and he's an expert tracker. I mean, that's part of being a trained assassin, but you know, he has pretty exceptional skill at when he needs to find a target, he will find that target. There's no doubt about that.
I will say
That's true.
my only thing and it says really absolutely nothing to do with the argument, I suppose. But so Boba Fett, I would argue, is not truly a Mandalorian.
He's not.
So he doesn't quite have the level of skill and training that other Mandalorians have.
But he also doesn't have the strict code to live by. He can break the rules.
People can see his face. So how did he get his gear? Did he steal it from a Mandalorian he killed? I should know this, but I don't. Because I watched the show and I remember that one dude had some old.
I'm probably the
Mandalorian
biggest Star Wars nerd out of three of us, and I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. How did he get his armor and everything? Because is his armor Beskar as well, or is it like a?
I'm ashamed to admit I don't have an answer either.
I'm just thinking, I wish I knew that, but I'm just thinking with Mr. Magoo's luck, who's to say he wouldn't just somehow end up in a Mandalorian suit at one point?
I'm going to put on this coat here, and it's a little chafy. He's got Beskar armor on. Dude, Mr. Magoo versus a Jedi, like the Force wouldn't even get with him because his luck's so good.
Oh, man. All right. I don't have much more. There's probably more out there, but
It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, at least you had information. I got nothing.
So my thing is, this is kind of it's a little more tricky than I thought it would be. If we're strictly in a throwdown setting, like if they were pitted up against each other, I think that Mr. Magoo would have a hard time to defeating the Mandalorian with his luck. Although, I mean, who knows with the way what his luck runs. But I think, however, if the two just had a chance encounter, that Mr. Magoo has a pretty good chance of beating him somehow.
That's true. That's sort of Mr. Magoo's thing. Like, he has great luck, but it's all chance encounters. He doesn't plan any of the stuff that happens to him.
Like, because I just feel like if it was a chance encounter, somehow Boba Fett something unexpected would happen. And like either Magoo would accidentally take over his spaceship and like accidentally blow him up or something, or I don't know, or like just, I don't know. I feel like the chance encounter, it would have to go to Mr. Magoo, maybe just because of his sense of luck. But when you put him in an actual planned throwdown, it's hard for me to figure out to see how Mr. Magoo could beat Boba Fett. So it's kind of, I don't know, like this series is called Throwdowns, correct? Like where we actually.
Yes,
okay.
The unlikely throwdowns, yes.
unlikely throwdowns.
You don't get much more unlikely than Mr. Magoo versus Boba Fett.
Yeah, like some of these like could be done in fan fiction or something. This one will never be done anywhere else. I don't
Like
think.
Papa Smurf for Voldemort. That was one that, like, hey, I could see that happening. But yeah, Mr. Magoo versus Boba Fett, I don't
think
foresee
we're the
that
first
ever being.
people ever do that.
So any of our listeners, if you write fan fiction, please write this fan fiction because I want to read it.
But no, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to go with Boba Fett, just because of the sheer strength and weapons that he has. But just like you don't think you have a lot of a big argument, Kevin. But I think the luck thing, like that is a really good argument.
That really
So,
surprised me. I was like,
I
wow,
think-
man.
I think in a chance encounter, Magoo could take him down like he does his rich uncle. But if it's just like if Boba Fett knew it was going to happen, it was a throwdown. But I think it'd be tough to beat Boba Fett if you're Mr. Magoo. If there's no ships to accidentally jump into or no Mandalorian suits or I don't know.
Nope.
So
Thank you. I take this win.
I will not be upset by that. It's fine. I'll accept my loss.
but I really
Even though secretly I do think Mr. Magoo might be the most powerful being in the world, in the
I
universe.
see
possibly.
that's my thing is too. Like I feel like I do too as well. It makes it a hard decision. And the fact that you do such an awesome Mr. Magoo voice, like it just makes me
Yeah, honestly, I wanted you to win just because of that.
So we're taking the argument that Mr. Magoo is a bounty, and Boba Fett does what he does best.
Yes, yeah.
All right, I'll consent to that. That's fine.
But
I'll accept it.
like if it was just I don't know. I think Mr. Magoo could beat him if he wasn't trying to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get
He
what
could
you're
beat
saying.
any of these people if he wasn't trying to.
But if it was an actual battle, I don't know. It'd be tough. So, all right. Well,
So-
that's my. Go ahead.
Whoever puts these people against each other with Mr. Magoo, you have to like somehow trick him and say, "Hey, you're gonna go get like lunch with some old friends," and then he'd win.
I don't know, but it still is. It shouldn't be, but it's still really hard for me to say Boba Fett could win. I'm sorry, it is, but I'm gonna have to say he probably would. But it's a very tough decision, much harder than the other round of throwdowns I judged, if I remember right. But I think this is
Also,
probably the
now,
toughest
which one did you judge?
I
Papa
wanna
Smurf and Voldemort.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think it
Yeah,
was-
it was
I think it was
Smurf and
Papa
Voldemort.
Smurf.
Yeah, because I had
That was a
Voldemort.
tough one too, man. Why do I get the ones with the like the
With the weird old cartoon characters. All right, that's pretty good.
Well, we are running
Kevin?
short of time, and I got to assign you guys your characters.
Yes.
So, Steve, I will start off with you.
All right, I got my phone ready. Text it to me, baby.
So these are randomly picked. I'm reminding that the audience these are randomly picked.
as well as the last two matchups were.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Steven won't get somebody weird, but I suspect that he probably will. So. Oh man, I can't even help you with this one, man. I don't know much about this character. I'll be perfectly honest.
All right, lay it on me.
I just sent it.
All right, that's cool. I don't know what we're gonna do there, but I'll make it work.
All
And
right, what do I got?
Dave, you are in luck.
Man,
No, I wouldn't say in luck in term. Well, Dave, you don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, sounds good.
I
That'll be
don't know
good.
how this one's even going to work. This is kind of another Mr. Magoo Boba Fett situation. I'm not really sure how this would even go down or how this would happen. So have fun with that, guys.
Man,
thank you.
I keep going back to maybe Mr. Magoo can win though. I really think he could, but
No, the episode's over.
I know, but don't you now that the episode's over, Steven, you can see my point that maybe he could win, don't you? Like I think
I
he
do.
could.
I do see your point. And Kevin did a fantastic impression of this.
Yes.
You guys better watch the Mr. Magoo cartoons after
Man, I
this.
feel like hanging out with Uncle Matt and watching that show again now.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, I should know this, but I don't know who was the one who suggested these two characters. Steven, you want to let
Oh
before
yeah.
we wrap it up? Thank our audience and thank our suggestors.
I'd like to thank Ryan Peak for submitting Mr. Magoo and Shane Hickson for submitting Boba Fett.
I see.
So thank you guys.
All right. Thank you very much. Excited about the next round here, the next matchup, and excited to see what the rest of our future throwdowns hold. holds. The future of our throwdowns holds.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Brothers Born podcast. Mr. Magoo versus Boba Fett, the most unlikely throwdown we've had yet. I think that I had some pretty good valid points, and I'm happy that I won, but I do think that Kevin also had valid points. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Who would win between Mr. Magoo and Boba Fett? Let us know what your thoughts are on our Facebook page and our comments section. Hey, do you want to do us a favor this holiday season? Then tell your friends about this episode, or the show in general. If you want to be extra generous, leave us a good review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again. Take care.
The matchup still makes me giggle. I don't